Yes, sir. My name is Ryan Walters, RyanWalters.
Okay. Tell me about the tweet you posted last night. What were you trying to convey?
Oklahomans want their schools open. I've heard from parents all over the state that are very concerned about their kids' mental health and about their academic outcomes if we continue to close schools down. So I thought it was imperative to send the message to school leaders to exhaust all resources available to keep our schools open so that our kids can have a consistent in-person learning throughout the semester.
Some of the districts we've talked to say, look, they have exhausted all this resources, and there's just not adult bodies to fill these classrooms. What do you say to them?
So schools were given $2 billion in federal aid to keep schools open. We have staffing. I've asked for administrators. Again, teachers are being stretched really thin. You know, teachers are covering multiple classes. Teachers are really working outside of the normal schedule to keep schools open. What I'm asking is that administrators, all administrative staff, cover subbing. I'm asking, let's raise substitute pay. Let's reach out into the community. I've been on the phone with a lot of school leaders that are doing this, that are trying to bring in more folks to help these teachers out as we're seeing some of the teachers going home sick. And that's what I'm asking, is that all options are on the table to keep our kids in school. And until we've exhausted all of those options, we shouldn't be closing school down, especially entire districts, especially for an extended amount of time.
In your tweet, you said when administrators act out of fear and not in the best interest of their kids, that harms the kids. What did you mean by that, acting out of fear?
Absolutely. The fear, the concerns here around, the cases level and things like that, I think that we've got to continue to put our kids first and explore all options to have in-person school. And I think that the teachers are stretched thin. I think we've got to get resources in the classroom. Again, we've got to utilize these federal dollars to keep our schools open. We need to be creative. We need to be innovative. We need all hands on deck to keep these schools open. And so what I would want to see is districts, before shutting down their entire district, explore all the ways to utilize personnel to keep school open, especially for our youngest learners. I mean, distance learning for a first grader is just incredibly ineffective. We've seen that over the past 2 years. We in Oklahoma want our schools open. I hear from parents daily. I ran into a parent at a grocery store last night that got very emotional with me about her neighbor, that she knows the 7-year-old is going to be home alone while schools are shut down. She doesn't have an option to send that kid during the day, not on this short a notice. And so we have to do all we can. We have to speak for those kids that need school, that rely on school. And so we've got to make sure that we're doing all that we can to keep that in-person option open during this time.
And do you think the districts that have shut down are not doing all they can?
I'm pushing them to explore all of those things. I am open. I want to talk to any administrator to try to help in any way that I can. I've had some very positive phone calls with administrators today, with teachers today, with school board leaders today, with city mayors today that are telling me all the things they're going to do to keep their schools open. Over 450 school districts are open. I mean, so we have a lot of schools that are doing these things, that are working to keep schools open. And I just think it's imperative that in all of our decision making, we put the kids first. And that's what I'm asking. I'm speaking on behalf of Oklahoma students, saying we want an in-person option for our schools, so let's do all that we can to make sure all of our kids have that option.
Mid-Del schools announced they're shutting down through the Martin Luther King holiday. The superintendent said your tweet was insulting and shows a lack of situational understanding. Do you regret that your tweet has apparently insulted so many educators?
I am unapologetic for standing for students. I'm always going to do what I think is in the best interest of our kids. I want to see our schools stay open. I want to see our teachers get the support that they need. I want to see our kids have these options continue to be open. And as Oklahomans want their schools open, we have to continue to explore all of these options, be creative, be innovative, reach into the community. Let's get as many adults into these schools and fill the needs that these subs can fill to make sure that these schools are going to be able to be open. So, that's kind of the way that I think that the approach has to be, what option hasn't been exhausted yet to keep our kids in school?
And you're an educator yourself.
Yes, sir.
Tell me, what unique perspective that gives you and maybe what you're doing to try to help.
There is nothing, teachers can make all the difference in the world for a student. As an educator, I am passionate about the impact teachers have. I know that the more and more kids are out of school, the more their academics are impacted. I am very concerned about the academic long-term repercussions of shutting down school. I'm also very concerned about the mental health and well-being of our kids as we continue to shut schools down. So as an educator, I know the importance that educators play in our kids' lives, and I want our kids to all have that opportunity. So that's where I'm passionate about ensuring that we're doing all that we can to keep schools open. I'm working with several districts right now to come in and help them substitute teach in their schools. I'm clearing my schedule right now to make myself available as best I can, and I'm calling on everyone else to do the same thing. Let's get in these schools. The governor and I are working very closely on solutions to this. What can we possibly do? I am open to having a conversation with any school leader to help in any way we can out of the governor's office to make sure these kids have an in-person learning option.
Okay. I think you went through a list earlier, but what should districts be doing to do this? Tell me that one.
Yeah. So school districts need to be leveraging their federal dollars and ensuring that they're paying substitutes a high rate to make sure that they're attracting people into the building. They need to be reaching out to parents to come in and substitute. They need to be reaching out to the community to say who from the community will come substitute teach in our school. Reach out to the churches in the community who come help us keep schools open. Oklahoma communities are going to rally around their schools to help them stay open during this time. I've been on the phone with several this morning that are working to do just that. Oklahoma is the best state in the country, and I know that we're going to rally together to keep these schools open for our kids. And that's what I'm asking administrators to do. Pursue all of these options. Be as creative as you can with staffing. Make sure that teachers are getting the help that they need. Teachers are stretched thin. I want to make sure that we're doing all that we can to utilize administrative staff and to utilize federal COVID dollars to keep our schools open for these kids.
Does the state have any state resources that could go into the schools? I mean, could you send a National Guard in to teach the schools? I mean, I don't...
The governor and I are actively working on solutions and what we can do to help. So we are open to any school leader with any ideas, any suggestions, but we are actively pursuing all of our resources to continue to help our schools stay open. The governor and I have been very consistent on this from the very beginning. We want to do all that we can in our power to keep schools open, and we're asking that school leaders do the same thing.
All right. Anything else you'd like to add?
I would just like to add, as a parent, as someone that hears daily from parents, parents are very concerned about the potential impacts of more school lockdowns. We have to make sure that our students are prioritized and that our youngest students have that in-person option so that we're not going to be sitting here looking at the long-term impact on our kids, both academically and their mental health, if we continue to shut down our schools.
Okay. Thank you for your time.